There are a variety of tools that we can use on this emotional healing journey. There is one that I talk about quite often that can sometimes get a response that a little eye roll or a deep breath, just not feeling all that inclined to want to do it. And that's what I want to talk about today. Welcome, I'm Peggy Oliveira. Thanks so much for joining me. That thing, if you've been following me for a while, you probably know is meditation. And I've certainly talked about meditation before, but today I want to talk about kind of why. Why do we use meditation? So, as I mentioned, there are a lot of tools that people will talk about and use, and some things work for some people and some things don't work for others. And that doesn't make it right or wrong necessarily. It's just that different things are going to work for different people, as is true for most everything in life, right? So one of the reasons that I talk so much and use meditation is because of the power that it has to affect every area of our life. Every aspect of healing can be affected positively by meditation. So having an idea of what you believe meditation to be, I think, can be helpful, because your idea of meditation might be different than mine. It might be different than your friends or another therapist. So recognizing that the first idea that we have about what meditation is may not be that tool that you might be coming across. It may not be how I'm referring to it. We often tend to think that meditation is sitting in a cross-legged pose with our hands in a mudra and chanting or something. And that certainly can be a form of meditation. It can even be a form of helpful meditation along this healing journey. But just recognizing that meditation doesn't have to mean one thing can be really helpful. When I refer to meditation, it's often specifically to guided meditations. So whether it's mine or somebody else's, but it's somebody kind of walking you through a process that helps you connect with something. And for me, meditation means being intentional about focusing internally. Now, internally could mean different things. One of the things that I tend to focus on a lot with meditation is breath, because it's something we're doing anyway. It's something that is really beneficial to our nervous system. It can help or hinder. Our breathing patterns can help or hinder how we feel on an emotional level. So a focus on breath can do a couple of things. And one is to actually help calm your nervous system. It oxygenates your blood, which is important. Aside from that, though, kind of however you might think of meditation, the main purpose is that it brings you into the present moment. Because if you're like most people I know, including myself, our thoughts are all over the place. I know for me, I've actually thought that there was something wrong with me at different times in my life, because my thinking is nonstop. My mind is never quiet unless I'm intentionally focused on breath or some sort of meditation. And then it's not perfectly quiet either, but my mind goes from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, very much. And I do not believe that I have ADD, but very much kind of like when you think about an ADD or ADHD brain and how things just move from one thing to the next. And sometimes I can be having a conversation with my husband and something comes up, and suddenly within a matter of a second or two, it's like I've gone through 6 different levels and end up somewhere else. But that's how quickly my mind works. And it goes from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Everything brings up something else. And I know for a lot of you, that is often true. And there are multiple reasons for that that don't have to have anything to do with a mental health diagnosis. And I'm not going to get more into that. But quieting our mind is really not only helpful, but important, because you know that so many of those thoughts where your mind is going are not helpful. They're often thoughts that reinforce the negative things that you believe about who you are. They reinforce the fears that you hold on to. They kind of give you reminders, so to speak, of why you're not good enough or why you shouldn't do this thing or feel this way. That's where so many of our thoughts go, and that is why we struggle in our day-to-day life. So, meditation helps you learn to be present right here in this moment as you're listening to my voice right now. If you're listening and engage with what I'm saying, you're focused, you're present. Maybe you're aware of some things around you, maybe you're not, but if you're listening, if you're taking in what I'm saying, you're present. But oftentimes there might be something that I say, or of course any other video that you might be watching, something somebody could say, and suddenly that thing takes your mind 7 layers deep, right? From one thing to the next to the next. And then you're obviously not present any longer. And not only are you not present any longer, but because of where your mind has taken you to, which is probably not the best place, it's likely leaving you feeling not so great in some way. Stressed out, damaged, unworthy, fearful about the future, hopeless about what's possible for you in your healing, reminding yourself of all the ways that you've screwed something up. And we can literally go through one of each of those in a matter of seconds. So, meditation helps you become present, because when you are present and engaged, you're just experiencing. You're experiencing what is real and what is present. You're not re-experiencing something from the past or experiencing fear and uncertainty about the future. You're just here right now. And for most people, of course, this is not going to be the case across the board, but for most people in our adult lives, as long as we're not worried about bombs going off or something bad, really bad happening, our present moment is generally going to be pretty safe. But depending on where our thoughts are taking us, and therefore affecting how we're feeling physiologically, we may not feel safe. We may not feel trusting. We may not be able to even connect with how we do feel or what we want. So, focused breathing, focused counting, focused grounding, paying attention to what is around you, those can all be forms of meditation. It is purely about being intentional in being connected to the here and now. So if you are connecting to your breath, one of the things that I often suggest is counting. And count your inhale. And depending on how you're breathing at that particular time, you might get to maybe 3 or 4, possibly up to maybe 6, 7, depending on how practiced you are in breathing, it might be even more so, or more length of time. But counting as you breathe in, counting as you breathe out, that keeps you focused on your breath. So not only are you present, but you are connecting to your breath. You're feeling the inhalation and the exhalation at the same time, right? Not literally at the same time, but you're feeling the inhalation and you're feeling the exhalation all in that present moment. And when you stay connected to that, you find the rhythm of your breath, which helps you connect to your body even more so. And for most people watching this, we can be pretty disconnected from our bodies. And so part of meditation often can be about connecting to your body, connecting to what feels present within your body, so that you can recognize stress or pain or moments of ease, because those are really important to notice too along this healing journey. So I think connecting to breath can be one of the kind of simplest forms of meditation. Now, having said all of that, I know that for a lot of people, connecting to your breath, noticing what's happening in your body, can be triggering. It can feel really uncomfortable. And so if that is the case and you're trying some focused breathing, instead of trying to breathe any specific way, just breathe naturally and just notice your breath. Just notice how your chest fills up, how your belly fills up on the inhalation. Notice how it feels to release it. So you're not forcing anything, you're just kind of paying attention. Being aware that the breath is coming in and going out. There can be like a walking or nature meditation can be incredibly powerful. Being in nature by itself can be incredibly powerful. And when you're doing like a walking meditation or a nature meditation, it's not that your mind is focused on one specific thing. You're just very conscious and aware of what is around you. You're noticing sounds and sights and smells. You're seeing the different colors around you, the different sounds you're noticing. You might even, if you're going on a longer walk, you might even notice different scents in the air as you move along. So meditation doesn't have to be sitting still. I actually view some forms of yoga as kind of a moving meditation. Because as long as you're present, that is what meditation is. Working out even can be a form of meditation when you are present with what's happening in your body. So if meditation scares you, try to remember it's just about being present, and there are a variety of ways that you can practice that. And notice that it is called a practice. Just like yoga is a practice, meditation is a practice. Because there are going to be times, even when you're counting your breath in and out, you might get to 2 and suddenly you've completely forgotten that you're counting your breath and that you're kind of supposed to be breathing and focused on that. That's okay. You've not failed. You're human. And it's not, meditation isn't pass or fail or success or fail. It's a practice. And so if you notice that your mind has moved on to something else, that's okay. Just when you notice it, see if you can come back. Because the more that you are present, the less all that other stuff bothers you. And the more connected to your body you become, the more consciously connected to your thoughts, you are. Because you know how I was saying that there could be something I say maybe, and suddenly you're 7 layers deep. Well, as soon as you notice that you've gone off into something else, without judgment, just, oh, wow, okay, and then just come back. And the without judgment part is practice too, because it is natural to judge, like, oh my God, why can't I do this? Or what's wrong with me? Or I'm never going to get this. That doesn't help. So just noticing that your mind has gone off, and then you come back. And that can happen in like a walking meditation. For me, it actually happens quite often, because when my mind is going, or like when I'm looking around, I'm taking in so much and everything makes me think about something. So sometimes what I'm thinking about is what's right in front of me. But oftentimes it can remind me of something else and my mind is completely somewhere else. So there are also guided meditations. And I think for a lot of people who have difficulty being present, being able to stay present, a guided meditation can be often beneficial. Now, the same thing can happen in a guided meditation as what I was just saying about you could be watching this video and suddenly your mind goes somewhere else, right? Something I say takes you off somewhere else. Well, the same thing can happen in a guided meditation. But again, you just, when you notice that your mind has gone somewhere, just come back. But guided meditations, whatever it's about, can help you stay focused. Because just counting your breath can be challenging for a lot of people. It can get boring quite easily. So guided meditations, as they're walking you through something, whether it's like a 3-minute guided meditation or a 60-minute guided meditation, it's kind of keeping you engaged as you go along. And so I often recommend for people, particularly who are relatively new to meditation or really struggle with it, is doing a guided meditation. And there are so many different types of guided meditations, and some of them are really specific maybe to mental health or healing, and some are not specifically related to those things at all. It's just about being present. And one of the resources that I like for lots of things related to like meditation is Insight Timer. It is a free app. I've shared it before somewhere, maybe on social media or something. They have a paid version where you can get a lot more access to things, but I actually just have the free version, and there's some great stuff on there, including some guided meditations. So that's a great resource. There's lots of great resources online as well. Jon Kabat-Zinn is a great resource for guided meditations. I also have some guided meditations as well, and there's a link below for that if you're interested. The free resource I have right now, if you sign up for my email list, is also a guided meditation, a pretty short guided meditation. The meditation album I have actually has some pretty long guided meditations in it. But you can check that out if you're interested. But there are lots of free resources out there. So, if you're new to meditation, just know that it is a practice. Your mind is going to wander, and that's okay. Where your mind wanders off to, you might even notice struggling a little bit. And if so, the most important thing to remember in that moment is self-compassion. Not judging yourself for where you've ended up. Just notice that it's happened. It's okay that it happened, and then come back to the meditation. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. The more you practice and the more natural it becomes, the more beneficial it also becomes. And it really does, over time, become a much more just kind of organic experience that you have in your daily life. A lot of times, even being really mindful as you shower can be really great as a form of meditation. Because how often do you really remember your shower, right? Your mind is constantly going. But being really present as you are showering can be a great way to connect to your body, to your mind. And if you've been stressed, it can actually be a great way to kind of visualize the stress melting away from your body and going down the drain. So if you've hesitated with meditation, or if you've struggled with meditation, just know that it's okay. That there isn't a way to be successful or as a failure when it comes to meditation. It's a practice for everybody. If you're fearful of meditation, try some relatively kind of neutral, I guess. I'm not quite sure what the best word to use with that might be, that aren't specifically around emotional healing, maybe like a walking meditation. Walking meditations really can be quite good, in part because you're out in nature, which is always nice, even if it's a little cold, and certainly not too hot though. But you're engaging, you have the ability to engage a lot of senses. You have the ability to connect with the beauty around you, kind of the miracle, so to speak, of what nature is and how it survives and all of that. I'm just looking at a bush out my window. So if you haven't tried it, if you're afraid of trying it, I'd encourage you to give it a try in however you want that to look. Just try it for a couple of minutes. Doesn't even really have to be that long. But starting with just a couple of minutes is perfectly okay. And really, even if you've practiced meditation for a while, practicing just for a couple of minutes a day, maybe a few times a day, if you don't have time for more than that, that can actually be really helpful. So I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? How do you practice meditation if you do, or how have you, and what struggles have you had with it? Does the idea of meditation kind of turn you off a little bit or scare you at all? Let me know in the comments. Let's connect around that, because however you feel about it, you're definitely not alone. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.